Right. So here's a question for the Sola Scriptura guy. Why does Yahweh receive the people of Jacob from a different religion?
I'm so sorry. I'm
There.
not interested in that conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Gobble, University. Do you believe God exists?
I do, yes.
Okay. What do you think the best evidence is if you want to talk about that?
Yeah, sure. So, as far as obviously, you can't prove that God exists, but as far as evidence, I would point towards um, a grand design. I think grand design of Earth, the universe, etc., points towards a creator. I think logically it makes more sense that it was designed rather than it all happened by accident. And
Okay.
that's just one bit of evidence.
Okay. And then one thing is like you're kind of quiet. I don't know if you're able to like fix that by
Yeah,
moving
I
closer to your
couldn't
mic or
couldn't hear
something.
him.
Yeah, let me try. I'm sorry.
Must
This
have
is actually my
muted.
first time going live on this. One
No,
second.
it's all good. Hey, this is your first time. Awesome.
Yeah,
Ever
Okay.
going out a live stream? Nice.
yeah,
W, I'm
yeah.
glad I,
I'm not.
yeah,
I'm not big on
Let me know
social
when you're
media.
ready for my argument, Yuji.
yeah. Okay, so,
The
Lock and
okay.
stack.
loaded.
Okay, so, you, what is the, okay. So yeah, what is the argument that, what do you want to say that is designed? The universe or Gobble University?
Oh, sure. I just mean, well, there's the idea of, I think traditionally atheists believe in the Big Bang Theory for the most part. But regardless of whatever picture you paint, at the end of the day, that's still by accident, right? But it still doesn't answer the question, well, what happened before the Big Bang? That's a lot of questions that could open up. But at the end of the day, God, um, ultimately a grand designer of the whole thing, logically would make more sense than just everything happening by accident.
I guess it depends on what you mean by accident. If you just mean that it wasn't intended by an agent, uh, then there are lots of things that are not intended by agents but are like not super unlikely to occur, you know? Like
Sure.
there's certain naturalistic or physical processes that um are make things some certain events like very likely to occur even if there's not someone that like intended it to happen. And so uh if by accident you mean um just not intended by an
Exactly.
agent or someone, then
Exactly. Well, okay. Well,
I don't see why it would be like very unlikely.
there's more caveats to that. So, not just that the universe exists, but the fact that we're even having this discussion alone. I mean, I doubt that there's animals out there discussing God, right? Um,
Okay.
but just the idea of intelligent design itself, we seem to be the byproduct of that, whether that be through biology and evolving. But you could even look at other creatures as being that's been around much longer than we have, but yet they're not sitting here talking about God either, right?
Yeah, I
Um,
love that one.
so it's not.
I actually really like that.
Ok- Okay. So uh like you want to say that we are very intelligent and intelligent life is something you would expect you'd be more likely to expect if it was designed, right? That's what you're saying?
Well, sure. Well, that too, but also the fact that we can even ask questions. You know,
Yeah,
I
that's
don't.
what's assumed by
Bear.
intelligence, right?
Yeah, I mean bears and dogs. I mean, there's levels to intelligence.
Oh,
Not that they're
sure.
stupid.
There's like
I guess.
intelligent intelligence.
If intelligence is a sign that something is a designer, and that designer is intelligence, then that designer would also require an intelligence to
Exactly.
design it.
Exactly.
Not to be
Wait,
cringe,
not
but what's
exactly.
beautiful about this conversation is that
What's up?
both sides are able to admit that, like, both sides require a little bit of faith to different measures, but it's
Mhm.
nice that this could be discussed in an open forum. I know it's cringe, but I'm loving it.
Oh,
Okay,
sure.
appreciate that,
Well, if I
Jacob.
can
Honestly,
throw,
I
if I
I
could throw,
do really like the intelligent design argument for God. I'm glad
Uh-huh.
that we're touching on that one. Of course, I
Oh,
go,
I mean, Connor.
strictly off Bible historical,
Yeah.
history, but
yeah,
Okay,
I
but
do
I'd
like
like to.
that.
Yeah, yeah. I do too. But I'd like to reply to him, which is he wanted to say that, and actually, I won't. I'm looking for him to reply to Sage actually, because I think Sage made a good point, which is if you think intelligence is evidence for a design, and you think the designer is intelligent, then
hmm
you would think that a designer is evidence for another designer that designed the designer, right? Because
not
intelligence is
necessarily.
okay. So then, why would it be the case that uh, the intelligence we see on Earth or whatever in the universe it indicates design, but a designer that's intelligent does not indicate design? Why would that be true?
I don't know if this is going to answer your question, but here's one more thing. So, if there is a designer, if there is a grand creator of everything, you can hear me. You can hear me,
Yeah,
okay?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know before someone said it was kind of low. Anyway, if there was to be a grand designer of the entire universe, he would he I say he, I guess, because I'm a Christian, but um, the creator would have to exist outside of the universe, right? So the laws of space, time, physics, mathematics would not apply to the creator because he exists outside of those things. It's kind of like when video game developers develop a video game. Obviously, they dictate the rules and write the code. The rules that they write in that video game don't apply to the creator of the video game, right? They exist outside of it, so the same rules don't apply. Um, I hope that kind of answers your question there, because
I'm not sure. I'm not sure it does actually, because just because the laws of physics wouldn't apply to the designer, if I concede that your argument even works, because I'm not sure it does actually. But like, let's just say that it does. That if there's a designer, it has to be outside the universe. Uh, and that means that the physical laws don't apply to the designer or whatever. Why would that show that int his intelligence is not indicative of design, but ours is? I still don't understand why that would be the case.
Like, are you saying that God had to be designed based on our logic? What are you saying?
Well, yeah, like if intelligence is evidence for design and God is intelligence, then God would be evidence for a designed
Well,
God.
God is beyond intelligence because intelligence is a human. When we speak of intelligence, we think of it's limited. It's like a human intelligence. God's infinitely is
God's not
like
intelligent.
God. Well, but he's
Within
infinitely
God,
intelligent.
God within it. Yeah, and he contains within him all the data packets in their what's the word potential form before they're activated into actuality.
There,
So like he contains all of that in packet form, and then it's expressed.
I also want to say that God's intelligence is it's at max capacity. I guess would be a good way to explain it. Like
Yeah, I
there's
think you want
nothing
to say he's
beyond
all
God. The Bible says
you,
he's the beginning. He's the
he's all
beginning
knowing.
and the end. He's the first and the last. He's all knowing. So the reason why when you look at us, the reason why it's very obvious, in my personal opinion, that there is a designer is because our intelligence is limited.
Why did
It is
someone do that
limited
to
to
my
this
phone?
construct.
What'd you say, Mom?
We don't know all the mysteries of
Someone
God.
invited me to turn my camera on.
I don't know. I did not do that.
Bro just came out of nowhere to say that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I
What?
just think
How
our
rude, bro.
intelligence has
That's
limitations. So
yeah.
whoever created us must not have limitations on the intelligence and have infinite
Do
consciousness.
I?
Yeah, that's good too.
Okay. Okay. Uh, I don't know. Was that an answer to Sage's question? I'm actually not even sure. And if it wasn't, that's completely fine. Like, I get your point, but I would like someone to answer Sage's point.
I mean, the question.
Question.
I'm sorry to
Sage is
jump in
on our
here.
side, brother.
The question begs, like, to me, it implies that because if there is a creator, that there must be a creator of the creator. But I don't
Yeah.
really see how that logic follows.
Well, it's just if you think that intelligence in itself is evidence for a creator.
Well, not the sole evidence.
Intelligent
That's just
design.
not not just not the
It's
sole
the
evidence.
conjunction. It's if intelligence is evidence of a creator and that creator is intelligent, then that compels that creator also must have a creator.
And that's where I totally don't agree with you, brother. You lost me.
Well, you'd have to basically you have to show
Can you rephrase it?
why we should think that
I did explain
our
it.
well, hold on, let me finish. We, you'd have to show why our intelligence is evidence for a creator, but um the designer of us is not evidence for a creator. Like you'd have to show why we should.
So let's go to the book of Job. When Job was in a conversation with God. There's your evidence right there.
The
When
book of
Job was in a
Job.
conversation with God. Yeah, the book of
I
Job.
mean,
When Job was in a conversation with God,
if
basically God said your beliefs are limited in hindsight.
But
I mean,
that's
if I could, yeah, if I could jump in real quick, okay, so I said intelligent design, but it points towards an intelligent designer, right? But that
yeah.
doesn't mean that's the only piece of evidence for God. I mean, obviously, I think there's more evidence, but I think it's easier to go point by point instead of
And
saying,
I do want
yeah,
to go to
yeah.
the book
And
of Job though,
that,
because it does really prove that God
And
stated that
if you
our
hold on,
if
Jacob.
you want to take the other horn and say that intelligence doesn't require a creator, then we don't require a creator either.
Yeah. And the other thing is like it's completely fine what you're saying, Gobble, because you're just saying that it's like some evidence, it's not like all of the evidence, and that's fine. But just like however much evidence um uh that you think that our intelligence is for a designer, we would just need a reason to think it's just not the same amount of evidence for that designer having a designer. And if you want to like provide some other evidence for a god, that's like completely fine. If you want to like just stop there.
yeah. I would say um, just you can look at mathematics and probability alone and see that the probability of intelligent life alone existing on Earth, just in our solar system. You don't have to look at the Milky Way or the rest of the galaxies, but just the probabilities there. I read somewhere, this isn't going to be exactly right, but you'd have to flip a coin like 1 quadrillion times and it land on heads every single time,
Hmm.
because of all the variables and how everything has to go. Um, probability. If you look at the laws of probability, it's much more probable that this all happened by design than that it just there was a big bang and there was no creator, right? So
What is
that's another
exactly
line of. So I'm
what,
using
what
I'm just using logic, really.
okay. What did you say is exactly 1 in a trillion chance of
someone
happening?
said logic without ignorance is logic
So
without reason is ignorance. Good night.
it's basically the chance of us being here on Earth, of not just intelligence, but of Earth being here, of humans being able to um, exist in the way that we exist alone.
Uh-huh.
The probability of that is very low if you take a creator out of the equation.
You're just saying the fact that humans are on the earth and the fact that they're able to like they're intelligent and talk about God or something like that is very low if it wasn't designed. That's what you're saying.
Well, sure. I mean, you could even look at just the life of the universe. You could just the fact that the universe is here, the fact that Earth is here. I mean, if we were a few miles closer to the sun, humans couldn't exist here. Not in the way we
Okay,
do now, anyway.
but okay. It's funny, Mob gave me this example. I'm not even sure if it applies here, but I think it does. Which is like imagine there's like a stick that falls from a tree and it falls into your front yard, right?
Sure.
And uh you look at it and you're like, what's the probability that it lands exactly on the very specific blades of grass that it landed on, and it landed at the exact angle that it landed on?
Well,
Um,
sure. Well, that's why I said improbable, though, not impossible.
but okay, hold on, let me finish. The point is that the probability of that stick landing on those exact blades of grass in the direction that it landed on is like outrageously low, but that just because there's a fact that's like super improbable doesn't give us reason to think that like someone was the cause of that fact coming true, right? Like just because a stick landed in a blade of grass that's like on in your front yard that's like very unlikely to happen doesn't mean you should think, oh, someone put the stick there, right? Just because it's very it's placed in a very specific spot in your front yard doesn't mean you should think someone did it. So just because there's some improbable event that occurred, like the Earth being here and uh humans are on the Earth, like just because that's very improbable isn't enough for someone to think, oh well, we should think there's like a designer behind this, you know?
So
Right.
It
how
doesn't
about the fact
immediately,
that
yeah, it
this
doesn't immediately
particular
imply that.
designer chose to basically lower himself, uh, lower himself and come to Earth and live a sinless life, walk on water, do miracles, healed the blind, displays himself as the creator, says I
Allegedly.
am to the
Allegedly.
Pharisees, says I am, right? Has no sin, lives a sinless life, and then dies and resurrects himself. So what I'm trying to get at here, chat and everybody on here, is of course you can say, that you can talk about the tree, but let's not forget that there's a lot of facts that are that accompany this cause and effect argument. So
Okay.
facts being this history that I believe to be fact, maybe you don't believe it to be fact, requires a bit of faith.
Yeah.
But regardless,
Yeah,
all of these
It always will.
factors, when joined together, create one beautiful story of creation. And I think that's what Gabo was getting at earlier about how this is just a factor. This is just, he was just giving an
Okay.
answer. There's
I
many
mean,
factors.
yeah. There's another caveat to that. I mean, space, time, and matter had even atheist scientists, because believe it or not, there is Christian scientists too, but even atheist scientists now agree that space, time, and matter had to exist at one time, right?
Okay. So
So there was definitely a
Yuji,
beginning to. It
Finally
used to be.
figured that out, huh?
Yuji,
What
can I
there
ask you a
used-
question?
after Goblin,
I was just-
yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
There used to be this idea that the universe has always existed, right? Some atheists brought that up, but over the previous decades. But now they've come to the conclusion that space, time, and matter had to exist at one time. So there was definitely a beginning point to the universe, and even atheist scientists agree with that now. But again, you don't see life doesn't come from non-life, right? Life only comes from life. So an intelligent creator, i.e., life, created life.
Okay. Well, okay. So there's two things you mentioned, and also, Connie, I promise I'll get to you real quick. First, you mentioned the Big Bang, and then the second, you mentioned life coming from non-life. Okay, I'm just gonna bookmark that real quick, and then Connie, what is your question?
Oh, I was just curious. Sorry to interrupt. I was just wondering,
That's good.
thus far throughout this conversation, if you had to select one data chunk or something that was the most convincing, even if it wasn't that convincing, something that you would say was like at the top of the chart right now. Which one would it be?
I actually like that question.
That's a really good question. I'm actually curious.
But I think yours is the best so far. That most people in history have believed in some kind of God or something. That's probably the best point so far, I think.
Oh wow. Okay, fair.
Yeah. But anyways, right, Gobble, what do you want to talk about first? The Big Bang or life coming from non-life?
Well, I mean,
Head out, boys.
I'm
God bless everybody. Hope you
See you,
all
Jacob,
find
bro.
Christ.
Have a good
see, dude.
one.
Nice talking to you, Yuji.
For sure.
Great live.
Bye, Jacob.
So, just a little background. I wasn't raised in a super religious home. Never was. I actually came to my faith by mostly logic.
Yeah.
Um, so I just want to put that caveat out there that I'm not like I wasn't raised in this super Catholic home or something. Hardly ever
That's
went
cool.
to church. Came to it pretty late, mid-20s or so.
Sure.
Anyway,
Okay. But yeah, which one do you want to talk about? The Big Bang or life coming from non-life?
well, I mean, where I was going with that is even if a lot of Christians like to say, well, it wasn't the Big Bang, it was God, but maybe perhaps God used the Big Bang to create the universe. I mean, so I have no problem with if it was the Big Bang. I don't think that really disputes God anyway.
Okay. So you want to talk about the Big Bang first? Okay.
Sure.
So, one thing that I'm curious if Sage, you want to share your thoughts on that at all, actually. Are you there, Sage?
Share my thoughts on what? I'm
The
sorry, I was only
the
half paying attention.
the misrepresentation of science. Do you want to, or I can if you want.
I like, what's he saying? That the Big Bang is evidence of a beginning of the
Yeah.
beginning.
Yep.
Well, I'm no cosmologist, but I don't think cosmologists necessarily think that is a beginning. It's just like this is where the math points, is that at one point things were smaller, and if you follow the math all the way back, there's a point where everything is as small as could possibly be. But that doesn't say where the stuff came from,
Okay.
or if it was
Well-
there, or if it was eternal or not.
Well, space, time, and matter had to exist all at one time, though.
But
the human
I had
eye
to-
is more complex than a supercomputer.
all right, hold on, buddy.
Explain that.
But
bro. It's the human eye.
but okay, we agree that, or actually, I'm not even sure if we agree, but we can agree that space and time and matter have to coexist. But just because they have to coexist doesn't mean that they had a beginning or that the Big Bang was the beginning of the space, time, and
Ye-
matter.
That's fine. I'm not necessarily arguing for the Big Bang. I just that's one argument against creationist is that it was the Big Bang and not a creator. And
My
I was just
mom-
trying to get in front of that argument by saying that God perhaps used the Big Bang to do so.
Okay. Well, I can
That's all.
agree that God is a viable or is like a hypothesis that could explain the Big Bang, even though I think it might be kind of an implausible one, but it's still possible, logically possible. But okay. So then do you want to talk about life coming from non-life or
Sure.
okay. Now, first of all, I'm actually not like from everyone I've talked to, I'm not sure that this is like a law in biology or some field in science. Um, but even if we do entertain it, um, you know, typically I think that biologists would define life as far as like being composed of like cells or being able to reproduce, have a metabolism, those kinds of factors, right?
Yeah.
Was and that's what and is that how you're defining life when you say life can't come from non-life?
Well, I was pretty much referring to an earlier point where I was talking about intelligent life. Like you don't
Okay.
see, you know what I'm saying? You don't
So you're
see
saying
bacteria. You don't see bacteria give birth to a human, right?
okay, so intelligence.
That's expected under the hypothesis of evolution, by the way, that you would not see a bacteria giving birth to a human.
Right. I'm not arguing against evolution either.
Then I don't get what your point is. What is the evidence for God in here that we're talking about? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm having a little trouble understanding too.
I guess it goes back to the point that it's more probable that God created Earth and all life inside of it than that there was no creator and that life just happened by accident.
Well, and remember, okay, I'll just straight up ask you this time. When you say accident, what do you mean?
No
Just
intent. There's no hand waving a wand creating things. It's just
okay, yeah,
it was
okay,
just
because like if a gust of wind happens and then like rock rolls down the hill and rolls to the bottom of the hill, right? Um, Technically, the fact that the rock is like at the bottom of the hill was not intended by an agent. Like in this scenario, we'll just like stipulate there was no one that um made the rock fall down the hill.
sure.
And okay, and you'd say that was by accident, but it's like not super improbable that a rock would fall down the hill, or there would be a rock at the bottom of the hill, right? Like
Right.
that's like so it's like when you say um the fact that there's intelligent life, it's more likely on design than quote unquote by accident, you know?
Right.
I
It's the laws of probability, that's all.
Yeah, but under the hypothesis it happened by accident, which just means there was not an agent that intended it for it to happen. Uh there's
Can,
so
can I
many. Go ahead, Sage.
can I
Go.
remind can I remind you, Yuji, that bare theism makes no predictions. So
Yeah,
you have
and
to have you have to have a creator
yeah,
that intends for life and intends for
yeah,
it to happen in this way in order for this to like even work at all.
yeah. I completely
And then
agree.
if you bring free will into it, it gets a little more complicated too.
Yeah.
And we can discuss that too. I love for
Okay, but yeah, I think that's exactly probably one of the points I was going to try to make. What Sage was saying, but there's two things that are like being established in these kind of arguments, design arguments. One, that's some fact is unlikely if there's not a designer, but then two, there's a second thing you have to show, which is it's more likely if there was a designer. And what I was contesting before was that I'm not convinced that it's unlikely if there is no designer. Okay? Because people use the word accident kind of loosely, but
Well,
something,
yeah, I defined what I meant by that though.
yeah, and I'm like happy you did because not many people do. But
Sure.
but the point is that just because something happened by accident doesn't mean that it's like super improbable. That's all I was trying to say, basically.
Oh, okay, I understand. But I'm just if you look at the laws of physics, the laws of logic, probability, all those things, it's not it is more improbable that the earth and the universe be here with us on it with no creator intending us to do so.
Okay. Now this gets into Sage's point, which first, maybe if you combine all the facts about us being on the Earth and all those things, just the fact that there's so many components to the hypothesis is what makes it like a very unlikely. But
Okay.
so I could agree that it's just unlikely. Um, it's just very unlikely by chance. It happens by chance. But okay,
Yeah.
and
Do you care if
then
can I ask you a question real quick?
sure.
Are
I'm
you atheist or are you agnostic? I know
I'm an
the prompt
atheist.
says you're atheist. Okay.
Yeah, I'm an atheist.
Okay.
Um, okay, and then yeah, here's the. I don't know if you want to put your input on this stage, but the problem with saying that it's more likely that um certain facts about where we are and certain facts about the Earth is more likely given design is why should we think that design would expect these facts to be true? Or like, why would we think that if the design hypothesis is true, it'd be more likely that there would be an Earth with life on it that's intelligent, all of those facts you were talking about.
Is that a question for me?
Yes, it is.
Well, we haven't found intelligent life that I know of on any other planet, even one in our solar system or that we know of in our Milky Way. Not to say that more doesn't exist, but that leads us to believe that it's improbable, right? Like you're talking about a huge galaxy and there's no evidence of life like us.
Mhm.
So
I'm not sure. Oh, go
I
ahead.
don't know if that answers your question or not.
I don't know if it does either, because here's the question. The question is, if the design hypothesis is true, would we think that it's likely, or at least we would have more reason to think that there would be an Earth that has life on it that's intelligent, you know? Because in order for the stuff you're talking about to be evidence for the design hypothesis, it needs to be more likely that this stuff would come about if design is true than if design is false. So you have to show that if the design hypothesis is true, that you would expect you would have some expectation about the facts about life and the Earth and intelligence on the Earth. Do you understand the question now?
Not really.
Okay.
I don't.
Okay. I'll try to give you an example to like, maybe illustrate what I'm talking about, and hopefully that will help. And I use this example all the time, but it's basically uh, in order for I still have a hypothesis that it rained in my city. Okay, now in order for something to be evidence for that hypothesis, it needs to be something that's more likely to come about if that hypothesis is true rather than if that hypothesis is false. Okay, are you following with me?
Sure.
Okay, so one thing that obviously would be evidence is if this entire ground of my city was like wet. That would be
Right.
evidence for, and that's because it would be more likely that the ground of my city would be wet if it rained than if it didn't rain. But it's not like impossible that the entire ground of my city is wet if like for some reason we got thousands of people to like spray water all over the city or whatever. There's probably lots of ways that could happen. But the point is that it's more likely that it would be true that the ground of my city would be wet if it rained than if it didn't rain. Okay, so and that's supposed to compare to this what I'm talking about with the design hypothesis. Just like with the rain case, the facts about that you mentioned about the Earth and intelligence and life need to be more likely if it's true that there was a designer than if it's true that there was not a designer. Does it make sense now? Or
I mean, I don't. So I thought.
okay,
I don't know.
sorry.
It's okay. I thought I had answered the question. But if there's, I'm not a theologian either, by the way. I mean, just
No, you're
a little
good, bro.
bit. Anyway, so if we haven't found any evidence of intelligent life like ourselves anywhere else in the universe that we can find, that leads me to believe that we're special or that in some way, right? Like
I don't know.
if so it used to be. I'm just saying, like if we exist as we do here right now, talking about this, I don't think anyone is talking about this on Mars, right? There's no humans on Mars talking about God right now. But you also, not only in our in our solar system, but in our entire universe, we don't have any evidence of life like us. That leads me to suspect that it's pretty improbable that we're here, right? So
Mhm.
you're talking about even if there was no creator, you're talking about a lot of variables and a lot of things that have to align for us to be here,
Mhm. But okay,
right? And
and
so far we haven't seen that anywhere else.
mhm.
So that seems to be, again, I'm using the word seems, evidence towards, obviously it could happen, but it may be that we're the only thing out there like this, the only improbability that actually came true. Again, yeah, it's possible, but it's improbable. That's my point.
um, okay. Now,
I'm
here's
not
what
certain
here.
how you go from.
Oh,
I'm not certain how you can get from the particulars of the way the universe is to they were intended to be that way. Because that seems what you seem to be discussing is like there's this set of facts about the universe, and those set of facts seem to indicate that there's a God.
How do you explain our closeness to the sun then? If we were any closer to the sun, we would burn to death. If we were
mhm.
any further away,
Yeah.
we would freeze to death. That's
Yeah.
design.
Do you know what an ellipse is?
It doesn't
Do you
matter. If we were
do you know
closer
what an
to
ellipse
the
is?
sun,
It
if
doesn't
we were
matter, Sage.
closer to
So
the
just
sun,
be quiet.
we would burn.
I'm just kidding. Oh,
I
okay.
Explain
just got
that.
cooked.
Yeah, bro. Oh my God, that was embarrassing. But no, I'm just kidding. What? Wait, I'm actually curious, Sage. What is an ellipse?
So an ellipse is like a circle that's longer on some sides and shorter on the other, kind of like an oval. And that's the
Mhm.
shape of our orbit. So we regularly go closer and further to the sun.
Mhm. How do you respond to that, Mr. Emperor?
All right, explain this though. Explain
Okay.
this. The
Okay.
human body, just forget the eye. The human
Oh.
body is
Mm.
more complex than a
I've gone
super
blind. I forgot my eyes.
than a supercomputer that
Okay.
humans design.
Okay.
What does that even
If
mean?
we came from monkeys, if we came from monkeys,
Emperor, if I may ask you,
Why are
if I
there
can
still
ask you real quick,
monkeys? If we came from monkeys, why
could
are there
you,
still
if you had to
monkeys?
pick,
there you go.
if you had
Why
to
are
pick your
there
number
still
one though,
monkeys
what's your
if
number
we
one in your
evolved from
toolbox?
monkeys?
That's what I'm curious.
Why are there
What's your
still
number one in your
monkeys?
toolbox?
The number one in my toolbox is in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth.
Good story,
Nice.
bro.
I love that number one.
God created.
Thank you,
If
Mr. Emperor.
we came from any other life form, why do those life forms still exist?
Oh, I never thought about it like that.
What else?
That's
What else
crazy.
is in that toolbox?
There's probably a lot, honestly, it sounds like.
Got
Yo,
a
when
puzzle
y'all see
piece.
Mr. Pigeon, bro, tell him he's a simp, dude.
Okay.
What?
Anyway,
Mr. Pigeon's a simp.
can I give my argument for God now, Yuji?
Yeah, go ahead, Sage. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay. If there are true contradictions, then
Uh-huh.
all propositions are true. The
Okay.
liar's paradox is a true contradiction,
Uh-huh.
and God exists is a proposition.
Uh-huh.
Therefore, God exists is true.
That's funny. I've heard this. It's kind of funny, but then it's like God doesn't exist is also a true proposition. So it's
Yeah, it
just
works
like,
both ways.
yeah.
So if
Oh,
God is truth and truth is God, and I say God is truth, I'm telling a truth, technically.
yeah. It depends on how you define God, because if God is a mind that created the universe, then we're just like talking about something else. Um.
Oh no, I'm not committing to that. I was just trying to do a play on words. Sorry.
Oh no, you're good.
I just came up with that by myself last night, man. Come
Did
on,
you
give me some
actually,
credit.
Sage?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's honestly
I like
that's
that a
like
lot.
I was trying to find like a dialethic argument for God.
that's actually crazy.
I like that. I tried to copy you. It didn't work.
Um, I've actually seen on YouTube somebody like made that argument. So I think you came up with an argument that like someone made already, which is like kind of impressive. You know, if like That's like philosopher level, like, you know.
And I don't read shit.
Hell yeah, bro. Um, theoretical. How are you doing, bro?
Good, good. How about you?
Oh my God, get the hell out. Who is this guy? So what's gonna be your argument for God theoretical?
Yeah, so uh if we take some moment T, right?
Okay.
Um, obviously some cause had to bring T into existence.
Okay.
Why would I accept that?
Well, presumably time would be dependent upon change.
I mean, that's fine, but why would I have to agree that there's necessarily a cause?
I didn't say necessarily. It is what the argument's parasitic upon, but I didn't say that.
Okay, so
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
so
reading
actually,
between the
let me
lines.
say this first. All change has a cause.
okay.
I'll get that out of the way.
Okay.
Is that Kaysen?
No.
No. This is this guy is like way more dumb than Kaysen, I think.
Oh, he sounds kind of like Kaysen.
Yeah, no, he's just a silly guy, I think. No, I'm
Are
just
we
saying, I
talking
think
about
I
the same
just
case?
no, it is Kaysen. Do you know Kaysen, Tani?
Let's
Yeah,
say
I
we
know,
have a point.
I know a case in. I'm not sure if it's the same one or not, but
Anyways, what is the rest of the argument, Mr. Theoretical?
What?
What's the rest of the argument?
Oh, where was I last?
You said that for every
All changes have a cause.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Do you have an issue with that?
No, I think all changes have a cost.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Sage has a problem.
So if all changes have a cause, let's say at time t, at time t, let's say noon, you would think that prior to time t, um, time t would have a cause. Let me make sure I'm not forgetting to say anything.
Okay.
I think I'm going about this right. Yeah. So time t
you
would
could use a
have
cup of tea.
time t would have a cause. If you notice that I did, yeah, I don't know. If I say something wrong, just stop me because I feel like I'm forgetting to say something. But
Okay, it's all good.
there are 4 logically possible relations or temporal relations between the cause and the change that's happening at time t. And we're quantifying over all changes at time t, which is just the change that we're talking about that causes, which is just the cause that's causing the change, because any other change would just constitute another moment in time. And so there, like I said, there are 4 logically possible temporal relations between the change and the cause. The change can be before the cause, the change can be after the cause, they can be simultaneous, or the cause can be timeless in relation to the change. So I'm gonna state that the change being after the cause or the change being before the cause are logically impossible, because the same. This is the same motivation for why I think that all changes have a cause to begin with, but potential things can't act. Which is just to say that only things in the present moment can causally act upon things. And so if there's a change at time t, the cause of the change at time t also has to be or exist at time t. And so now that we know that there's a cause of the change at time t, we know that there has to be a further cause of the change that causes the change at time t. But the change can't be simultaneous with the change that's causing the change at time t, because we've already quantified all of the causes that are at time t. And like I've already stipulated, it's impossible for the change to be prior or after. It's impossible for the cause to be prior or after the change. And so the cause would have to be timeless.
Okay. And so, and the timeless cause of God, basically, right?
Oh yeah, this is supposed to be an argument for God, isn't it?
No, yeah, it's all good.
What
I'm
if I
right
just
though,
give
right?
like a Humean? What if I just give like a Humean objection?
Him sucks.
Wait, what were you arguing for?
Complete explosion's just a timeless cause, so it wouldn't be a god.
Okay, gotcha.
But I mean, you could, it's basically like the Kalam. You could just be like, you know,
It's based upon a lot of assumptions. I mean,
yeah, I
a lot
know,
of things people can object to.
It's
yeah,
the tea time. It's the tea time for God argument.
tea time. It's yeah. But yeah. So God exists now. We've concluded, and I think that's like pretty good. So like, I'm a theist now.
My argument was much easier to follow.
That's true, actually. Uh, yeah, and that argument also succeeds too. So everything is true, actually.
I feel like Goebel has some tricks up his sleeve that he's not necessarily using. Goebel,
What's up?
got anything for us?
I've been quietly listening. We can go into other evidence if you'd like.
Yeah, I was curious what else you got.
So I don't really think the grand design thing. I don't think it was refuted, but I also don't think it was proven.
Okay.
But I'm happy to move on.
Yeah. What else would
we
we
can
talk
move.
about?
We can move.
I mean, like, if I can say another comment about the design argument, I think that the design argument implies that like all these things are necessary for us to be here, right? Like all these facts about the universe are necessary for us to be there, and then God had to instantiate them. So I think it like denies the omnipotence of God. So I don't know if you want to appeal to that or not. Like, why would it be necessary for God to have all these particulars in order for us to exist?
Well, it doesn't. It's not that he has to, but I think he would. He wants us to live in a world that we understand, right?
Does he?
Yeah. I mean, mathematics isn't. Mathematics. The law of mathematics. You can't. It's not like people are making that shit up.
Because in the story of the Garden of Eve, it seemed like God didn't want us to have knowledge, didn't it?
I mean, are we arguing about a creator, or are we arguing about the nature? I'm happy to do either.
I don't know if you're a Christian or not, but if you're a Christian and you believe the story about the Garden of Eden to be true, then God explicitly did not want us to eat the apple that would have given us knowledge. So he didn't want us to understand. So much so that he cursed us afterwards.
Maybe so. But I mean, yes, go ahead.
Sorry, I interrupted you. I apologize.
No, it's okay.
I was just gonna say, are you expressing that certain aspects of mathematics could also be considered like aspects of the will of God, or is that something not within your paradigm?
Not necessarily.
Like, are you saying that mathematics are an expression of His will according to your worldview?
Not necessarily. No. I'm just saying that mathematics. It's not something that humans just make up. These are the laws of mathematics, right?
Just trying to understand it.
I guess I was just refuting the point that I think it goes deeper into the universe is much more complex than we know it to be. Even I mean, they're always figuring out new things about mathematics to this day, right? But it's like every 10 or 20 years they find something new with that turns the last 20 years on its head. So not really a point for God, just a thought. Just think it's interesting.
There's actually one view that I've been reading about, but I'm like not confident in defending it. But I'm just gonna bring it up just 'cause it's interesting. Called conventionalism, and you can be a conventionalist about a bunch of stuff. But one of the more popular ones is that to be a conventionalist about mathematics, where mathematics mathematical truths are explained by our linguistic conventions, like our language. And so in that view, uh math is not like a feature of the world that we like discovered or anything like that. It's like a product of our language and how we use language. And mathematical truths are true in virtue of like what the symbols and um the syntax of the language system mean. So like true in virtue of what those mean, but it's not like true in virtue of like anything about the world. Like you you don't discover anything about the world by learning any mathematical truths. That's like one view. So I think
That's
I would.
that's a weird
I
view.
don't. Yeah, I don't agree with that at all.
You don't agree with that, Sage?
I
No,
you
I mean,
guys,
like,
don't agree with that.
I don't like. I have a position on like numbers and math, but I don't know if there's a name for it. I think that numbers are just an abstraction of quantity, and math is the relationships between those numbers. So like,
I might have.
it's kind of discovered and kind of invented.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's the language of the universe. That's what I think.
Yeah, I mean that's like another view, and I'm sure it like sounds weird, but I actually think it's like the most. It's probably the most plausible. Like it might be the view if I end up taking after I'm done reading about it. But
Like maybe you might say that the quantities are analytic and the relationships between them are synthetic. So you might learn more truths about the world through the relationships.
I don't know. I think I would say that they're both analytic quantities and
Maybe
like
I'm
the number.
stupid though. So
No. You're good. You're good. I like don't know a lot about it either, so I like couldn't. I wouldn't be good at explaining it or anything like that. But that's just like what I've been reading about. And so what my only point that I was trying to make is that it's still like controversial whether math is like you know some people say discovered or something like we made, and that's like to put it really roughly. But like it's definitely not like you know it's like controversial. It's not like ever all philosophers think that math is like something that uh um is discovered. But yeah, that was the only point I was gonna make. And then we were talking about something before that I want to talk about, but I forgot. Can someone remind me?
I believe we were talking about grand design again, but
Oh yeah. Well,
intelligent design, I should say.
I feel. Oh yeah. Sage asked or wanted to say something about intelligent design, and then you were gonna say something before that. Before, like wanted to say that you had something else that you want to talk about.
Well, yeah, let's stay on intelligent design, and then I
Okay.
don't want to go to that point and then go back. Yeah.
Okay. Sure. What did you want to say about? Or was it like Sage or something?
It wasn't me. It wasn't me.
I just had a comment about the intelligent design argument, but I already said it.
I do.
It's like I think that if you point at the design argument, then I think it denies the omnipotence of God.
What's the actual argument you're running?
You think
Sage?
a grand design? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, Jason, you're asking what argument Sage is running, right?
No, I was just like, I know
this
he
guy.
was running the design argument, but I didn't know if he had like a specific like way he was going about it or something. Because it's Gobble Universe that's running the design argument, right?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
I'm not trying to like cut in on y'all's conversation. I was just wondering like if he had a way.
No, you're good. Could you explain it again, Gobble? I think.
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm happy to. I'll try to be concise.
Okay.
Basically, my argument is that the laws of probability, mathematics, physics, argue for a grand design being more probable than a grand designer not existing.
Okay.
And earlier you were saying like certain facts about life and intelligence and like facts about like our Earth was more expected on the design hypothesis, right? You were saying that earlier, right?
Right. Well,
Yeah.
I think you were giving me examples as to why it doesn't really matter that just because Earth and we're here it isn't pointing towards a creator, not direct evidence. And I agree, it's not direct. I'm just saying it's a probability that points towards a creator.
Yeah, I'm actually not sure about that. But uh
I think it takes more faith to believe that there is no creator than it takes faith that there is a creator, just based on the laws of probability alone. You don't have to move into the other laws
What are like
of
the laws
logic
of
or anything.
probability?
So you're saying having a lot of faith is a bad thing?
Not at all. I didn't say it was bad. I just said I think it takes more faith. I think it takes more faith to believe that there's no creator than it takes faith for a creator. Like, I think it logically makes more sense that there's a.
wait, yeah,
That just means
what
like atheists are more virtuous because faith is a virtue.
Well, atheists are more virtuous. That's not true at all. But
wait, what are the laws of probability?
I mean, if, for example, if there's no creator, you'd have to flip a coin. I think it's like 1 quadrillion times for us to be here and exist as humans do now.
That's what the laws of probability say.
That's what the laws of probability point to. If there's no creator, you would have to flip a coin. It's something like 1 quadrillion. I'm getting that number wrong, but it'd have to land on heads every single time.
What are they like? How are they like
So
getting that number?
so like let's pretend I have a deck of cards, right? And I shuffle it. What's the probability of that single shuffle? Like of that order of cards?
I don't remember.
It's like 52 factorial. It's a huge number, right? Of any particular one.
Sure.
But there is always 100% that there will be an order. But each particular order is only like 1 out of 52 factorial.
Right.
Are you the grand designer flipping the cards?
Oh my God.
Yes.
But yeah, basically, Case's question is how are you getting the improbability from the, you know?
Well, just for all the variables to line up for us to. I mean, what are these? How old is what is Earth? Like 4 billion years old or something? They say.
Well, like there's a lot of assumptions being made.
Well, sure, absolutely. I'm not arguing. I'm not a scientist.
Yeah.
Again, I'm using more the laws of logic, right? The laws of probability, logic. That I just think I think it points towards a correct.
Well, you have
saying
to,
these laws of probability, but what are these laws of probability? I'm not aware
this
of any.
doesn't follow from any like laws of probability. You have to assume. You have to like
I'm just
assume.
using an example, right?
You have to assume that there's a lot. Here's all the assumptions you're making. You have to assume that there's like at least like what you said, a quadrillion ways in which the universe could have been. You have to assume that there's a uniform distribution in terms of how likely each one is, which means that you also have to assume that it's not weighted, which means you also have to assume that there's probably no like previous natural cause or natural explanation as to why like the particular universe is this way. Just like a lot of assumptions.
Okay.
Yeah, which is just, like you couldn't like someone couldn't give like a deeper physics response or something like that because you've already like kind of canceled that out.
Well, that's not I'm not attempting to do so. I'm simply arguing that the precise values of the physical constants required for life are so improbable that it suggests a purposeful, intelligent design. That's what I'm arguing.
Oh, the constants.
If these constants are required for life, then you're denying the omnipotence of your God.
How so?
I don't know if that's true.
Because if they're required for life, then that means God had to do them, create the world in such a way that those constants would happen.
I think like something they could say is that It's true that God could have got life without the constants being the way they are, but it's still more like um, you know, they you they could like argue that it's still more expected, even on the hypothesis that God's like all powerful, like because it's like some obviously one way that God could have brought about life, you know? So it's like,
Well, I would argue if there is a creator, like let's just grant that for a second. Just for that
Well,
argument alone,
th-
if there is a
th-
creator, he would have to
then
be
they
all
would
powerful.
then they would be
just to
saying
create
that these constants aren't necessary for life. So which way do they want to go? Their God is not
well,
omnipotent, or these constants are not necessary for life.
Well, that's not true.
uh,
No, if he would have to be all. I'm arguing if there is a creator and he did create everything. I mean, I think that is an argument alone that he's all powerful. If he created literally everything.
well, that's not. I don't know about that. Like, you can imagine a creator that created everything, and that was the only power he had was to create everything, and that's it. Like, I don't know if you
Well,
can get.
everything that we can observe is everything that he created. So why would he create something that and he has no other power outside of that?
What I'm
And
saying is that
again,
like
he would have to
I'm not.
exist outside of it too.
What I'm saying is that like you. I don't know if you can infer that he has any other powers from the fact that he created everything. You know. Oh, like he could. It
Yeah.
could be that he just had the power to create everything, and that was his only power. And now he's just like something that just like watches now or something. You know.
I mean, you could argue that, I guess, but
Yeah. I mean.
I
Yeah.
think the better argument is if he can create it, all this, that I'm sure everything else would seem pretty small next to that in terms of power, right?
Yeah. I'm not sure. But okay. What else?
This one might be
Uh.
kind of a weird one, but
y-
emotion, kind of an odd one. I don't even know if it's
Well,
necessarily evidence, but
really quick.
just
Sorry,
sure.
I might before we move
What?
on from that, just to
You're good.
squeeze it in there. Sorry for
Yeah.
cutting you off. And this might be a long shot, but if you're going to refer to something like quantum entanglement, and you would figure that if God created everything, then his energy is somehow entangled in all processes and all dynamic, occurrences that happen within his creation, then although you're asking what power would he have outside of the creation, well, he would actually have his finger in everything due to the quantum entanglement, right? In some form.
That's just like
Well,
so
no,
that's
I
just
mean,
like a
I don't even know what that means.
like imagine that there's this thing called like quantum infusion, and I had no clue what quantum infusion was, but I heard that word and I was like, well, it could just be the case that God like God just like infused himself through this process. Like we're just all like infused with God because of quantum infusion. But like that's obviously I'm saying that in virtue of the fact that I have no clue what quantum infusion is. And I think that
well,
you might be saying that in virtue of the fact that
Well,
you
now
don't
I'm
know what
convinced.
quantum entanglement is.
I mean,
No, what I'm
I
saying
mean,
is
like
if
if I,
God created us and we're part of his creation, then his involvement is obvious, right? Like through connection with his creation.
I'm not arguing that he has his hand in every single little thing like you said, when a stick touches a few blades
Yeah,
of
I'm
grass,
wondering what
eventually
his
it's dry.
jurisdiction would be. Like in your worldview, what would be his
His
jurisdiction?
his jurisdiction, he would have power over everything. I mean, that's like
Okay.
when someone creates a video game, they have power over the whole video game. They can go in and write more code and change the video game if they want to, or change things if they want to. But they have all power over that video game because they created that video. But they also exist outside of the video game, kind of like a bird's eye view, right?
Okay, I have a question. If
Sure.
if someone is all powerful and they desire something, how likely do you think it is that they'll get what they desire? And it doesn't have to be like a
It
specific
could.
number or anything like that, but like
Uh, I mean, they're all powerful. They can have whatever they want.
so you
6%.
six. That's pretty low. So you would say it's like very likely that if they desire something, that like that would occur then, is what you're saying?
No, I'm not saying it would occur because there's also the argument that God, even though he may want something, he can show restraint if he doesn't think that it's best
But
or
all I'm
etc.
asking is that if God wants something, then it's very likely that whatever he wants will happen, right?
Not necessarily. No, I mean, he didn't.
Oh,
He didn't want us to. No, no.
so do you think if God was weaker, like a weak God, and he
Hang-
desired something,
I,
it would
Of
be
course
less
not. If
likely that
I mean, we have
uh
free.
I don't
We have
I don't
free
think an
will.
omnipotent God can know what desire or want does, because anything that they want or ever wanted or desire would automatically instantiate.
yeah, there's like a sense of desire where it doesn't include like um there's like lingering desire, which is like you want something but it like takes time or to occur, you're like not able to like get what you want because like, you lack power or whatever. But there's like a
Like
sense
delayed
of desire
gratification.
where there's like just a way in which the world you would like prefer the world to be, and that doesn't like, you know, and um maybe there's like something that's like logically impossible for God to have, which is some people say it would, like Jack says that it's incoherent to desire something logically impossible, but
God really wants that square circle.
yeah. But okay, so my question for you, Gobble, is do you think that would you say that the probability that a weak God will want something and the prob is the same this oh I'm so sorry, I'm butchering it. The probability that some what the weak God desires to happen, if an all-powerful God desires that to happen, you would say that it's not more or less likely that um the all-powerful God would get what he wants compared to the weak God?
Well, if there's a grand creator, then I think he would be able to act against certain wants, right? He would be able to deprive himself of some he wants, right?
But do you understand what my question is?
I guess so. I don't know where you're trying to lead with that.
What do you think my question is?
Repeat it one more time.
Okay. We have two hypothetical worlds, okay? One hypothetical world, there's a God that wants something and he's all powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Hypothetical world number two, God wants something, the same thing, but he's not all powerful. Okay.
Okay.
Now, is it more likely that what the gods want in their little hypothetical worlds, is it more likely that the all powerful God will get what he wants in comparison to the weaker God, or is it the same probability, or what?
Well, I don't know.
Are
I mean, I don't even know how you would
Eugene,
put that up
are you
against
Yeah.
asking,
probability. But
does a more powerful agent have a better chance of instantiating that which they desire?
Yeah. I
oh,
mean, that seems like
absolutely, he would.
super
Yeah,
plausible
he
to
would
me.
have
But
he would have more power. Yeah,
okay, so you would say that.
he
Okay.
would have more power. It would be more probable. Yeah,
So you would,
just
okay.
because someone's
You're
all
welcome.
powerful doesn't just because
Thank you,
a
Sage.
being is all just because a being is all powerful doesn't mean um, that he's just going to do whatever he wants all the time.
Okay, I wasn't trying to say that he would like do whatever you want all the time or anything like that. But okay, so now, you know, there being an all-powerful being, you know, they have every single power, right? So that makes the probability that they would get what they want compared to like someone that's like extremely weak, it's like outrageously more likely then, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
If
Okay.
sure.
Okay.
Yes, I think that someone who can walk has a better chance of walking than someone who can't walk.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
or like
absolutely, but you're also implying that the all powerful God always acts on the wants, right?
well, actually that would, if they are rational, then that's like what it means to be rational.
Well,
Is to
like we can look at this in our own lives. Like I'm sure we all want things that we know is not good for us, or that you know what I mean?
well,
I don't think
you
you
know,
want to appeal to competing desires if
yeah.
you think the Bible is true, because that's going to entail that there are some parts of God's will that do not come to pass.
I don't know. I don't understand how that would imply that at all. I'm just simply implying that he's an all-powerful God, and
Okay.
all I'm saying is that an all-powerful God. I'm like God obviously didn't want us to eat from the tree, right? Whatever, the forbidden fruit, but we did it.
He didn't want that to
Yeah,
happen.
well, no, I mean,
Okay.
Eve talked to the serpent, and she ate from the forbidden tree of knowledge, and yeah.
Okay. Remember what I was talking to you before about the rain, where uh the ground of the city being wet is way more likely um if it rained than if it didn't rain. Remember that?
Sure.
I like the example.
Thank you, bro. Uh, that's how I think, and I think you know where I was like going with it, is that I think there are things, at least in a lot of theistic views, there's like a lot of things that God desired not to happen. And like the ratio of things that God um desires to happen, desires to not happen, is like really uh it's like there's a lot of things he didn't want to happen, so that like the ratio of those things is like what you wouldn't expect if there was like an all-powerful being. Which then, if that's true, then though that in my from my lights is like evidence that it's not true that there's like an all-powerful God. That's that's basically
I don't
my
think
evidence
it's okay. I don't necessarily think that's evidence. I just think
that
that
has those
that's
desires.
evidence. I just think that's evidence that we have free will.
Well, it's evidence. It's the definition of evidence. So literally, how I'm using the term evidence, that it literally is
I
it's
could
just
also turn
evidence.
that. I could also say that's evidence of an all-powerful God showing mercy.
Uh, I actually don't see what that has to do with kind of the argument that I was running.
Because you said if there's more situations that go against what God desired than what God did desire, and it
There's just a
doesn't.
lot. Not I wouldn't even have to say more. There's just like if you if you think about the ratio of things people in your life desire, and um how often they are able to get what they want. There's like a certain ratio, right?
Okay.
And it seems like if those same people had literally every single power, the ratio would be way different. Like they would almost always get what they want, right? So if someone's all powerful, you would expect the ratio of them getting what they want to be like pretty high. But it seems like there's like the ratio of things that God desires not to happen is like really high. And there's like a lot of things that he didn't that happen that he doesn't want to happen. And so
I mean,
then
yeah, I think at this point we'll just be talking in circles because to me, that's just an argument of free will, not that he's not all powerful.
okay. But okay, and here's the other thing. Uh First of all, it's like why would free will explain it doesn't seem like free will explains a lot of the things that God desires not to happen. Like
Well, I guess I'm arguing because I guess sin because humans go against what he sometimes wants us to be or wants us to do. That's I guess what I was implying.
okay, but like uh which example do I want to use? Let's say like um presumably God doesn't want animals to undergo like intense suffering. Would you agree with that?
I don't know. I mean, the Bible says that humans hold dominion over all the other animals, so I doubt he wants us to make them suffer necessarily, though. But I don't
Yeah,
know.
like if there was someone that was like just stomping on a puppy, right? Like God doesn't want that to happen, right?
I hope not.
Okay. And if God doesn't want animals to undergo intense suffering, does
Unless they're
it?
Amalekite babies, then he wants it.
Yeah. If God doesn't want animals to undergo intense suffering, then it seems like free will doesn't like help explain why, you know, there's like I don't know if you believe in old Earth or young Earth or whatever, but does it seem like free will would help explain why there's millions of years of animals it's like tearing each other apart and crazy natural disasters happening to them and sickness and all of those things.
Well, I'm Christian, but I try not to use the Bible to make arguments just because you're atheist. So I know it's going to fall flat because you don't have faith in the Bible like I
Okay.
do, right? So
Yeah.
that's why I try to use probability logic, things like that, which is what brought me um, to faith, actually.
Okay.
Um, the Bible makes it very clear that the world is a fallen world.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't behave as initial as it was intended, right? And in fact,
Uh-huh.
the only other person that's referred to as God in the Bible is Satan. When they say Satan is God of this earth, meaning a
Hmm.
fallen world, right?
Goebbels,
Hmm.
really quick, was that, just curious, was that recently or like a long time ago that transition happened for you?
I wasn't raised in a religious household. It was probably 6 years ago, 7 years ago.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm 27 now, 26 actually.
You got a deep voice, bro. Um,
Oh,
um, okay, so you're wanting to say that the fall in the Bible explains why animals are suffer, and that's what you're saying, basically.
not necessarily. I was just pointing towards that could be. I mean, I'm not a theologian. I don't go to church every Sunday, so I can't really argue why the world is what it is. But just that the
Yeah.
Bible does point towards the earth being a fallen world and Satan being referred to as God of this earth.
Um, right. Because okay, I don't want you. So you're not really bringing that up to help explain why, like, there's this animal suffering then, or I'm not sure
But
actually.
yeah, I don't think the animals are sitting there saying, "Oh my God, we're suffering," right? I guess us as humans can say, "Oh, that's suffering," because we have that intelligence to understand what that means. But um,
Is
Wait, so
suffering part of the grand design?
suffering, I mean, life is suffering, right? I mean, that's
Yeah, I was just,
that's literally the story of the cross and Jesus. Life is
yeah,
suffering.
just, gotcha. Just wanted to know.
So if life is suffering, to me, that's the whole message.
well, okay.
Well, that
Uh,
sucks.
it's imagine mm, okay, imagine this. Imagine that there's like someone who um was charged for unaliving someone else, okay,
Okay.
and that their fingerprints were found on the like weapon that unalived the other person, okay?
Okay.
And so obviously their fingerprints would be like really good evidence that they did unalive them, right?
Sure.
Okay. And then but imagine that um the person that unalived or is charged of unaliving them said, well, actually, there were aliens that like took my fingerprints and like placed it on the weapon, right?
Okay.
That would be like that. No, you're good, but like that's like pretty implausible, right? And
Yeah, I guess
so
so.
yeah, and so it's like basically in order for like a story or like a hypothesis to help explain some data that's um unexpected on your hypothesis being true, uh it needs to be like something that's like likely, at least more likely on the hypothesis being true than like the unexpected data. Which is but
Right.
basically just to say like, you know, it if I was like, look, animal suffering is evidence against God, and someone was like, well, there was like a fall and that's why the animals suffer, you know, uh that kind of hypothesis or like story, quote unquote, needs to be something that's like plausible or more likely to be true if the hypothesis is true. If it's true
Well, it
that God
also
exists, you know.
well, well, it also says that humans have dominion over all other life, you know, of animals, and they were put here for us to basically eat, right? So I don't know if animal suffering, again, the animals don't really know they're suffering because I don't think they can identify that in the same way that we can, anyway.
But
You
I
heard it here
was
first, folks. The Bible says that eating animals is fine.
oh
Is
wait.
that in Genesis? Genesis,
Therefore,
right?
veganism false.
So essentially you're just saying that, well, animals do suffer. Even if their suffering is not the exact same as humans, they do suffer, right? Or are you saying that you think that they don't suffer at all?
I mean, it's funny because we can attribute suffering to, like, yeah, those beings, those animals over there are experiencing suffering, but the animals most likely can't exhibit the same intelligence to know they're suffering. And I would maybe even point towards a God of mercy for not giving them that same kind of intelligence to at
Okay.
least know they're not suffering.
I don't know. My German
But
Shepherd seems to know when she's in a real bad mood.
well, sure, like I said, to the same level that we can understand suffering.
Yeah, different gradient. You're right.
Well, okay, so are you bringing up this point because you think that maybe God doesn't care if the animals are suffering because they don't know it or something like that? Is that what you're saying?
Not necessarily. I just think it's kind of cool that if they get to experience suffering, but at least they don't really get to contemplate the whys like humans do.
Sure,
Do you think it's cool that they get to experience suffering?
No,
It's
that they
wild.
don't. That they don't know why or something like that. But
It's a gift and a curse kind of thing that humans
yeah,
have. Is what I'm saying.
yeah.
Do we have access to greater joy than them? Would that be the opposite side of that coin?
Depends how you measure joy.
Like
I would say
realizing we're
yes.
being joyous?
I would say yes. I think. I mean, I don't know if other beings, other animals, have the ability to, the old saying of put yourself in their shoes. I don't know if animals, of course, they might feel sympathy, or dogs will feel bad when you're feeling bad and try to comfort you and things like that.
But not with the awareness
But
you were
again,
describing.
they can't take. Yeah, a dog can't. I wonder what that guy's thinking. I'm trying to put myself in his shoes, even though I didn't experience that same thing.
Right.
That's just, I guess, another example of a different level of intelligence.
Okay. I have another kind of data that's like related to suffering if you want to talk about it, or
Sure.
I don't know. Okay. Basically it's like it's physically impossible for me to blow you up with my mind right now if I just like decided to do that, right?
Well, that's good. Yeah.
Yes, that is a good thing. Now, imagine it was like physically impossible for like God just like created the world in such a way where it was physically impossible to uh like grape a child. Like he created us. He made like a trap in our brains that would go off that we would just like fall asleep or uh like to start puking constantly or something. Where
Okay.
if we went to rape a child, like that's what would happen, and it would just be physically impossible for us to like do something like
Okay.
that. And I think just like how me, you in your view, I still have free will, even if I can't blow you up with my mind. I think free will wouldn't explain why, if God made it impossible to rape children, that free will wouldn't explain that either, because that would just be something that would be physically impossible, just like blowing up people with your mind. So I
Sure.
think the
Have you
fact
seen the
that
movie Clockwork Orange?
no,
A long time ago.
Anyway, sorry, it just reminded me because in that movie they do program that response to sexual stimuli. Like, not to get into detail, but
no, you're
they
good.
program this
Great
through
movie.
mind control, and get to the point where anytime they're given a certain stimuli, they have that physical like horrible reaction. So it's
Yeah,
interesting to think the man-made version of what you're describing.
yeah,
That's
basically
that was a
that.
book
Yeah,
first, right?
I think he was asking you, Connie, but
Saying?
that's
Clockwork
okay.
Orange was a book first, right? I'm just curious.
Yes, it was correct, and then
Yeah.
made into a movie. I believe in the late '70s.
Yeah, it's directed by Stanley Kubrick.
Oh, he's
Yeah. Very, very interesting movie. I do recommend, but kind of a hard one.
Yeah, he did 2001 too. It was a good one.
But yeah, like, do you get what I'm saying? Gobble.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all good. Okay. Um, Junior, what's up? Junior Achiever.
Hey, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing great.
I'm an atheist, just here to back you up.
Thanks, bro.
Yay.
It's not. I appreciate that. Although there's not a lot of going on right now, so
I already proved God
you
existed
might-
through
you
argumentation,
might not
so
need it.
it's
I
game
don't-
over.
Sage got it.
But I'm interested in any theological arguments, so
okay.
I'm just here for that.
I'll give you an argument that there is a designer. Can I do that?
Oh, please.
Okay. So essentially, there are these physical constants that
You can't
if
start with mythical, dude. You gotta
not
sell it.
mythical, not mythical, not mythical, not mythical. I didn't say mythical.
He said physical.
I said physical, not mythical. Okay.
Okay.
So there's these physical constants that, and I think there's like 32 of them or something like that, where if they vary, there's like a small range that they could vary from, and the universe still be life permitting. So, like for example, there's the gravitational constant, which is essentially how strong gravity is. If gravity was any stronger, then the universe wouldn't exist. The physical universe wouldn't exist. And then if
Well,
gravity was any,
please define what E equals MC squared means.
what? Why? Why
How many drinks deep are you, Junior?
All right, I give up. You
Well,
win, bro.
if you're gonna give me shit, I'm gonna give you shit. So
Well, when did I give you shit?
Yeah, I don't think Yuji was giving you shit.
What are you talking about, bro? Oh, that's okay. It's okay. You know what, guys? I think I'm gonna end it here. It's kind of late for me, but honestly, Connie, you were super cool. Gobble, you were super cool. Sage,
Yeah, enjoyed the conversation.
yeah.
Thank you,
too,
everybody.
Sage.
Yeah, that was fun.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah. See ya, Sage.
Theism wins. Let's back it up.
All right, guys.
Yeah,
have
for
a
now,
good
y'all.
night.
Later.